Have you ever watched yourself spiral in real time and still felt completely unable to stop it? Hey, it's Coryne, your mental performance coach for everyday life, and welcome back to Everyday MVP. Today, I want to give you a framework that will change the way you think about your emotions, your reactions, and your performance. It's simple and it's visual, which I love. And once you learn it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. I call it the Stoplight Framework: red, yellow, green. So let's start with green, because that's where we all want to be. Green is when you're in control. You're focused, you're confident, you feel composed and optimistic, determined. Maybe you're communicating well, encouraging the people around you, and fully present in what you're doing. You're in the zone, as athletes would say. You're in flow. And it's not just about performing well, it's about feeling like yourself at your best. It's easy to be in the green when things are going well, when the shots are falling, when the presentation's landing, the day is flowing. Green feels effortless when everything is going your way. But here's the truth: it's impossible to stay in the green forever. We all fall out of it, every single one of us. And the goal isn't to never leave the green. The goal is to learn how to get back there more often than you are right now. So, what does red look like? Red is when you've lost it. You've given up, exploded, shut down, or quit. You're angry, you're overwhelmed, you feel out of control, hopeless, or just completely checked out. You're stopped in your performance, in your day, in yourself. We've all been in the red. And most of us know what it feels like to get there. What we don't always know is how we got there or how to get back out. And that's where the yellow comes in. Yellow is the key. It's the most important color on the stoplight. Not red, not green, yellow. Because yellow is where the choice lives. You can't change something you're not aware of. And yellow is what most of us aren't aware of yet. Yellow is that in-between space. You're not quite in the red yet, but you're not in the green either. You might be feeling frustrated, doubtful, distracted, rattled. Maybe you're starting to make excuses or look for someone to blame. Maybe you feel distant or tentative. Something is off. You can feel it, but you haven't completely lost it yet. That's yellow. And most people blow right through it without even noticing. Sometimes we slip into yellow because we start replaying old mistakes, especially the ones we're scared to repeat. And instead of learning from them and moving on, we get stuck there. And that stuck feeling is what pulls us towards red. Sometimes we end up in the yellow because of the way we're interpreting what's happening around us. The same missed shot, that same difficult conversation, the same stressful moment. Two people can experience it completely differently based on how they are interpreting it. Here is why all of this matters. The more you continue in the yellow without redirecting, the more likely you are to end up in the red. But if you can catch yourself in the yellow and start looking for solutions instead of excuses, you can get back to green. It is so much easier to refocus in the yellow than it is in the red. The more you notice what you do in the yellow, the easier it becomes to get back to green. But you can only work with what you can see. And most people can't see their yellow yet. I had a client, a golfer, who was one of my favorite examples of this. We had been working together for a while, and we knew that by the time he hit red, he was throwing his golf clubs. Full on anger mode on the course. So we talked about the stoplight framework, and I asked him to think about what his yellow behaviors look like. What was happening before he got to that point? And at first, he couldn't think of much, which makes sense because we often aren't aware of the behaviors that lead us to red until we start paying attention. But then one day, he came running up to me, Coryne, I found another yellow that I do. He was so excited. He had noticed that right before he got to full-on club throwing mode, he was slamming on the brakes of the golf cart. That was his yellow. That was the signal. So I asked him, what did you do with that? And he said, I used the skill of opposite action. I started intentionally braking slowly, deliberately, calmly. And he said it got him out of his own way. He started getting back to green more often than red because he was focused on changing his actions and behaviors in the yellow before the red took over. That's what it looks like to catch yourself before the spiral. And the tool he used to change his behavior is called opposite action. I have a whole episode on it called Do the Opposite: How to Change Emotional Reactions That Don't Serve You. Go back and listen to that one. It's one of the most powerful tools I teach. And it's exactly what my golfer used here. And here's something I want you to really hear. You choose what color light you're in. It might not feel that way right now, but the more aware you become of your yellow, the more that choice becomes real. How you interpret the events happening around you determines where you land. And what you do in the yellow determines where you go next. You have more control than you think, but only if you know where to look. So, here's your MVP challenge this week. I want you to make your own stoplight chart. 3 circles: red, yellow, and green. In each one, write down how your body feels, what emotions show up, and how you tend to behave when you're in that color. Start with green. That one usually comes easily. Then red. Then tackle that yellow last, because that's the hardest one. Most of my clients' yellow circles start out nearly blank. Not because nothing's happening in the yellow, but because they haven't been paying attention to it yet. So think back to times when you weren't quite in the red, but you weren't in the green either. What were you feeling? What were you doing? What behaviors were showing up? Write them down and keep adding to it over time, because the more aware you become, the more you will start to notice. That yellow circle is where your power is. Fill it in with the behaviors you notice, and then use opposite action to help yourself get back to green. And if you haven't listened to Do the Opposite: How to Change Emotional Reactions That Don't Serve You yet, let that be your next episode after this one. And if you want help with this, I have a free stoplight guide where you can fill in all 3 circles. Just reach out to me on Instagram or email me at minddelete@gmail.com and I'll send it your way. Your performance changes when you learn to catch yourself before you hit red. Because self-awareness doesn't stop the storm, but it can stop the spiral. And remember, Mind Lead team, your most valuable player is you. Every day is a new day. Breathe in, breathe out. You've got this.